Hey, Hope City, it is Thursday, 7 o'clock, and so that means it's time for 7 to 7. And thank you for those joining tonight. Thank you for those watching later. I know 7 o'clock isn't always perfect for everyone, but I just want to say thank you for those that do watch this. Make sure you like, share, comment, whatever. If you get something from it, put it in the comments and let us know. So let's jump into it. This month we are talking about vital signs of a healthy believer. And so what that really is talking about is what are some things that you need to, as a believer, as someone who believes in Jesus, as a Christian, what are some things you need to know about yourself and your walk with Christ that are functioning properly? We talked about vision and how vision and hope are so linked together. Hopefully you had a chance to get our newsletter. I have an article in there about vision and hope and how they're linked together. But if you haven't, then you know what? We need to get that newsletter going out to more people. So put a comment in here if you'd like to get the newsletter. I'll reach out to you so I can make sure you get that. I'll get your email and such. But anyway, I just want to say that last Sunday we talked about vital sign of love. And let me just jump into a couple scriptures here. And what we had in our handout was we had Ephesians 5, 1 and 2. And I'm going to read these out of the Mirror Bible. And in the New King James, it says, "Therefore be imitators of God as dear children, and walk in love as Christ also loved us and has given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling aroma." So that's the New King James. In the Mirror Bible, it says, "Mirror God, you are his offspring." You know, you've heard someone say about a son and a dad, or a daughter and a mother, like, man, you're like the mirror image of that person. That's basically what it says. We're a mirror image of God. If only we could see ourselves that way. It says this is how, so basically what the writer's saying is, mirror God, you're his offspring. This is how you do it. Let the love of Christ be your life. Remember how he abandoned himself to us. I love it. He abandoned himself. He gave up everything about his self. And he did that. He abandoned himself to us. And he linked himself to us so that he could fulfill what God had in his life. I'm telling you, if you're only out for you and only out for what you want to do and only out for your self-interest, it's hard to put God above your self-interest if that's what you're doing. You need to have God's interest first in your life. And, I've said it I feel like I've said it so much lately, but deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow him. Those are the three things that we're called to do, or that Jesus said, if you want to follow me, this is what you do. It goes on in verse 2, it says, his love is contagious. It's not reluctant, but it's extravagant. Sacrificial love pleases God like the sweet aroma of worship. I love that part where it says his love is contagious. Whenever you are operating in the love of God, other people see it and they're like, they want more of it. I listened to a minister, his name's Dan Mohler, and what he talks about and how he expresses the revelation that he's gotten from God and just what he does on a daily basis and just how he is. I'm like, man, I want more of that. I want to be more like that because I see it's contagious. It makes me say, man, if it's possible in him, I know it's possible in me, because God's no respecter of persons. What he did for one person, he'll do for me. What the revelation that is available to me. I can be like Jesus. I can act like Jesus. It says that right here. So it says, this is how you do it. You let God's love, you let the love of Christ operate through your life. And verse 3 says, love has nothing in common with lust, immoral acts, or greed. The absence of these motives, even in the way you talk, sets a standard of excellence. And, Jesus set a standard of excellence. And it was because of his love that he totally abandoned his own self-interest. And he abandoned those to our interest. He died so that we can live. So the only way that we can live is to die to ourself and live for him. So, man, that's been 5 minutes already. So let me jump over here. I want to read in 2 Corinthians 5, in verse 14, it says, so Paul is writing to the Corinthians. He's talking to them about this, and he just got done saying how just overwhelmed he is with God, and he's boasting about them and about God doing such great things. And in verse 13, he says, for we are beside ourselves. It is, if we are beside ourselves, meaning if we are sounding crazy, it's for God, because we're so overwhelmed with what he's done for us. He goes, but when we come to you and speak, we'll calm down enough to communicate to you, is what he's saying. That's the John paraphrase. But verse 14 says, for the love of Christ compels us, because we judge thus, that if one died for all, then all died. Verse 15 says, and he died for all, meaning Jesus died for all, that those who live should live no longer for themselves, but for him who died for them and rose again. And I want to read this out of the Mirror Bible as well, because he's saying, the love of Christ compels it. The love of Christ is what motivates us. It's what gets us up in the morning. It's what gets us going and what gets us doing everything we need to do. And so verse 14 says, the love of Christ constrains us and resonates within us. Because it's like hearing God's voice, and it's echoing in that cavern. It's echoing in you because it resonates, because it so closely resembles who we are. It's identical. It mirrors us. And it goes on and says, leaving us with only one conclusion. When Jesus died, every individual simultaneously died. In God's logic, one has died for all, thus all died. Verse 15, now if all were included in his death, they were equally included in his resurrection. The unveiling of his love redefines human life. Because in that one act of his death and resurrection, it unveiled to mankind the depths of love God would do and would go through and would expose himself vulnerable to, so that it would redefine what human life is capable of. Whatever reference we could have of ourselves outside of our association with Christ is no longer relevant. Love changes everything. Love changes how you see God, how you see yourself, and it talks about in Galatians 5 how faith works by love. When you understand how much God loves you, there's no way he would not do something for you, because you can see the extravagance of his love for you. So that's our 7 minutes is up. Just get into the word. 2 Corinthians 5, those verses are awesome to read. Galatians 5, Ephesians 5, 1 Corinthians 13. You could go on. There's so much talking about the love of God. So get in the word, dig into it, find out more about his love for you. And when you find out more about his love for you, it's easier for you to see other people the way God sees them, that they're loved. So God bless you. Have a great night.